Welcome back. Episode 2, The Key to Zen. What up, guys? So, this is this story. I've been wanting to tell this story pretty much since it happened to me. I mean, I probably scared all my friends at the time when after it happened, before I could actually fully process everything. I was just kind of vomiting at the mouth with all of my adventures or misadventures, whatever you want to call it. Definitely made some people mad, definitely scared the fuck out of some people. So this is it. I'm finally getting into it. This is So this is my near-death experience. And the journey begins. It was on my 20th birthday. My best friend and I decided to go to San Diego for 5 days. You know, we intended on Disneyland, the beach, other things, just, enjoying San Diego. And so I'm literally packing all of my things, everything that I can stuff in this duffel bag, I'm taking with me. And I'm telling my friend over and over and over and over, I don't think I'm coming back. And then it was just progressively I am not coming back. I feel like I am not coming back to Arizona. I just had this feeling that I was gonna stay there. But in my head I'm thinking, I'm gonna get somebody's just gonna want to work with me there. I don't know. I wasn't doing shit. I was a little bratty ass teenager who just wanted to be in California. All my favorite shit stuffed into this duffel bag, not coming back. So I would say at the time, just to give you a little background on the situation, we had been on approximately a roughly 3-month triple C binge. And if you don't know what triple C's are, I'll let you figure that out on your own, because I don't want to be an enabler. We literally stayed up all night with our homie before we left. So we didn't get any sleep before a 6-hour road trip that we were tripping balls on. Fast forward to the morning that we left. We each had 3 packs of triple C's. We each had 3 packs of triple C's, period. We also had 2 or 3 packs of Diablo Spice, El Diablo Spice, which if you know anything about spice when it was legal, that was some of the most potent shit you could get. When it was about it was 3 to 5 gram bags. It was all still legal at the time, by the way. So this is when everything was still legal. So we're finally in California somewhere around San Diego. And of course, there's a Border Patrol checkpoint. And we get stopped for whatever reason. I'm sure there were many. They pulled us over to search the vehicle. And keep in mind, we're freaking out. We're like, where's all our drugs? Where the fuck is all our drugs? We found empty packs. All of the packs were empty. All of the packs were empty. We had done all the drugs in a matter of about 6 to 7 hours. Maybe 10, generously, assuming we started tripping a little bit before we left. So roughly in the span of about 10 hours, we took roughly 50 pills each. And I want you to know, both my friend and I did the exact same amount of drugs. So I want people to understand that if you think that you can just go out and do 50 pills and smoke a whole lot of spice, you will most definitely, especially now, it's been 7 years, kill yourself. The good news was that we had absolutely done nothing wrong in the eyes of the law. We had no illegal substances. We had literally no legal substances. All we had was empty boxes, and we're just tripping balls. Probably looking like this, no, we're good. The bad news is pretty much everything else. So, of course, they asked to search the vehicle. We get out, yada yada. They're doing their jam. They found nothing because we had nothing that was illegal. They were and they saw the pipe, but there's nothing illegal in it. We didn't even smoke weed out of it, so there's nothing in there. And the fact that spice was legal and weed is not still is just So they were gonna let us go. We were good to go. We got off clean. They were all right, as long as she drives, y'all can go. Of course, obviously, she was not me. I was not feeling that. So my crazy ass, and I'm skipping some little minute details, like me being a complete asshole to everyone and just being ridiculous. I was being a cocky asshole, and I was tripping balls. So you literally could not tell me shit. Anyways, it took 3 grown-ass men to physically detain me. I'm 5 feet tall, roughly 5 feet tall. About the size I am, about 160, 150. Depends on, what month it is. But, 3 grown-ass men. I was freaking the fuck out. And they ended up telling my friend to try to calm me down, or they would have tased me. I probably would have died if they tased me, because all the shit that was like targeting my heart at that time. So thank God they did not tase me, or I might not be here to tell the story. But I did not calm down, and my friend did not try. I'm sure she did try, but I was being mean to everybody. It was just, anyways, that was the details. I was being an asshole, yada yada. They ended up letting us both go as long as she drove. Me being the asshole that I was being, decided that I didn't want to go unless I could drive. So as my friend pulls off the lot of the Border Patrol checkpoint, still in plain sight of everyone, on the gravel, not even on the road yet, I decided to tuck and roll out of my friend's car. And that was all she wrote at that point. She had to leave, I had to stay. Reality is kind of a blur at this point, so I will just tell the story the best that I can piece it together. Like, what was reality versus what happened in my mind becomes a blur more towards the end. So this is really where I feel like I was still kind of floating in reality. Definitely floating, because I was not really I was definitely not in reality, but I was definitely still aware of my real surroundings. I got dropped off at a random transportation station. I had my duffel bag. It looked like a gas station convenience store to me. It was the middle of the night from what I understand. So I walk in the gas station, drop my giant stuffed duffel bag with all this expensive, nice stuff in it in the middle of this random transportation station in the middle, convenience store in the middle of nowhere of San Diego. And I asked the person at the counter if I could use his phone, looked at the phone, had no idea what the fuck I was doing with the phone. So then I set it down and walked out of the store and never saw my stuff again. RIP. So now I'm roaming the streets of San Diego. I'm telling people I'm Kim Kardashian. I gotta include that, 'cause it's just like, I was cute. I was looking pretty cute that night, I'm not gonna lie. I was feeling myself. But anyway, so I'm telling people I'm Kim Kardashian. I'm like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And of course, people don't know who the fuck I am, because I'm not Kim Kardashian. But it was almost as if I could feel people for exactly who they were. Like, no fronts. You could not lie to me if you tried in that situation. I would have seen through it. I was going up to people just completely confident in the fact that they wouldn't kill me or rape me, and just zest for life. I was just about it. I wanted to talk to people, and I was going up to people who looked probably like super creepy, and they live in corners and hide in dark walls and don't want to talk and maybe I don't know. But anyways, so I'm talking to these people and they're awesome, dope people. Some random dude comes up to me and is like, hey, come check something out in somewhere that's not here, and come with me. And I'm like, you're creepy as fuck, bro. No. And continue walking, not giving a fuck that somebody could just come and pick me up randomly and take me with them, and I'd never be seen from or heard from again. I trusted so much in the universe. So I'm walking randomly down San Diego. Eventually, I think I'm sitting on a curb or a stoop of some building. I'm not sure exactly. Like I said, the details are blurry. I get picked up by a cop. This cop had absolutely no reason to be bothering me. I had no identification. My phone was dead and in my purse with my best friend. So I had no phone, I had no identification, no money. I left all of my clothes and makeup and my best favorite things in a duffel bag in some transportation station that I had left a long time ago. And I knew the cop didn't have shit on me. So I'm like looking at this dude, like calling him by his name on his badge and just not being very respectful to him. But I kind of felt in my heart that he wasn't shit. Sticking to where the cop is taking me with him. So I'm getting detained again at this point, but by a cop. And I get taken to a station. I remember being handcuffed to a bench for a little bit, hitting on the officers that were watching me, and this homeless man was trying to get on to me. Like, he was just trying to like get me, and like, but he was handcuffed too, and I'm like, whoa, dude, get this guy. He's really tripping. But I was actually really tripping. And so I kept telling the cops how hot they were, kept telling them, you know, I'm waiting for the Kardashians. They're gonna come pick me up any moment now. I'm waiting for the Kardashians. They're coming any moment. Like, I'm just waiting. They're gonna be here any second. I'm just, you know, here. Obviously, I have no business here. And they're hysterically laughing at me. And I'm just like, just wait. So I'm staying in I think I was maybe like a drunk tank or something. I remember hanging up on a girl's phone call. Then I had to be removed from that room. Oh, I was in a cell for probably like overnight. It had to be overnight because it was at night when I was there. And when I went to the hospital, there was sun. So I'm sitting in this cell, and then all of everything is just coming over me. Like, that's where I got visited by my sisters. They were, so before reality totally slipped. You know, just bear in mind, this may not be in the exact order that it all played out at that time, but understand this is almost impossible to perfectly interpret. And it has also been 7 years. And that was a tame time of my life, let's just say. So lots happened since then. I remember I got visited by, at some point this is when I was in the jail cell. And they were my sisters. They were just female entities, spirits, female spirits surrounding me. There were 7 total, including me. So I was one of 7 sisters. We represented continents. We represented the continents. I was Africa. Bear in mind, at this time, I am a mixed woman. I grew up in a predominantly my white family raised me, and growing up was weird being mixed, you know. So I will say, at the time of my 20th birthday, I don't think I had fully accepted and loved the fact that I'm Black. So we're having this discussion. I'm having a discussion with my sisters. I'm the baby of the family. I'm the baby. And my job is to sing, I have all the animals, I have Africa, the mountains, and all I have to do is sing. So we're talking, they're telling me that I am so beautiful. I don't know, they're telling me to take my clothes off because we are so beautiful that we don't need these clothes. And so I'm taking off my clothes, and I'm getting like jolted back into a reality of, holy shit, I'm naked and cold in a cell. So then I would put my clothes back on, and again, I would be shaken back to my altered state of mind and just be reminded of my beauty and my radiance and just pureness inside and out. It was amazing, the feeling that they gave me, and confirmed about the person that I am in just subtle ways that it's hard to put into words on a camera. I want you to know that I just came to this realization. This is not on my notes. This is not something that I've ever said out loud before, or even had a realization until saying that whole part out loud again. So I really feel that it was more than my clothes in that instance they were speaking of. It was this personification that I felt I had to uphold to be accepted by Black and white people, or by my family, or by my friends, because I was not living an authentic life at that time. I was living for my parents, and then it became me living for my friends and for the adventure and the thrill of basically making up for all the lost time that I had in my parents' house, because I was a sheltered child. And I think that now I'm just looking at that like, wow, there was so much to this whole experience. And like, oh my God. Okay, so back on track. They're having me remove my clothes and telling me how beautiful I am. They tell me that my job is to sing. So I had not sing out loud. I didn't ever sing out loud until after this time. Now, and then I started over the years singing out loud, and that's, it all ties in together so amazing. It's insane. So, okay, so my job is to sing. My job is to go to the highest mountain and sing. All I had to do was name my daughter Zenobia. So, me being the me that I was like, what, why? Like, Zenobia, come on, guys. I didn't like that name. I did not. And then I think now it is a beautiful name, and I have so much tie to this name. It's crazy. But so I'm, complaining. Little baby me was complaining, and they were shutting me down. Like, look here, little miss. You're the baby of the family. All you have to do is sing. You have the most beautiful continent. You have the most beautiful animals, and you get all of this. And yes, you're going to name your baby Zenobia. That is an agreement that I came to with them. And that I honestly feel as if has transitioned into something else now. And that's where I get the name Zen, because I wanted to, anyways, I think I'm jumping ahead again. It's so hard to just not tell you how this all comes together. Like, it just blah. But anyways, so I feel throughout this whole experience, I feel the love that I am going to receive from the man, my soulmate. I felt the love that my now husband was going to have for me in that moment. I saw what he was going to look like. Keep in mind, he didn't look like that when I met him, but I saw and I felt his love, and I saw him and felt the person that he was and then also indirectly his family, his sister and brother-in-law, like in a way tied into that. And for me, it wasn't clear. At that time, I saw it as when I got back with my best friend after the few days had gone by and she found me finally, I told her I knew her and I were not going to end up in the same places, but that we would both end up being happy. And I didn't know why, I didn't know how, I didn't understand it. We still had a couple years left of our friendship after that still to come. So it wasn't something that was happening right now, or that it was, it took years for all of these things to play out. So it's insane to me just seeing how that experience has tied my life together over the years. I still went through 2 boyfriends after that. I met my first boyfriend right after that, and then broke up with him and rolled into my next relationship after that, and then ended up in Texas. When I moved here, I was 23, and I was technically 23 turning 24 in a couple months. So that's crazy. So all of that happened in roughly 3 years. And then I came here. And now I'm 27 and I'm married to the man. And I decided over the years that I've transitioned from that person to the woman I am now. I've never fully identified with the name that I was given at birth, but I've always gone by it because I couldn't think of another name that felt right to replace the name that my mom gave me. I finally found the name. I finally discovered, I guess you could say, the name through that experience, but over the years, within the last couple of years, I've just made the decision to change my name to Zen, and that's what I would have called my daughter had I named her Zenobia. I wanted to call her Zenny or Zen. And I don't feel as if my husband necessarily needs to be, he didn't necessarily need that to be part of his life, but I also feel like I'm going to have a son, and I know the name of my son as well because I saw myself talking to my son and giving him the name that I want to give him, and I now know the name that I want to give my son, and I don't even want to have a kid for another 5 years at least. So I think that my daughter lives inside of me and doesn't need to be a part of this world right now, or will come in another form, or we'll have that discussion when it comes. I'm not worried about it. I decided that it was more of a symbolic term for the new myself, me coming into my highest self. And I think every day that I continue to live as myself and with my husband and just doing the things that I feel I need to do to make my imprint. I want to change the world. I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it. And I'm starting by telling my story. I feel like that's the best way to start because there's gonna be people that relate or want to tell me their side or how they found a connection or had a similar experience. Like, I am so about that. I almost, in a way, I saw the timeline of my life and how things were gonna work out, but nothing made sense. And it took me, so I fell in love with my husband the instant I saw him. Like, we met in a band that I was singing in. See how that plays out. I was singing in a band. I moved to Texas to get off drugs, away from my abusive ex, and to sing. So when the opportunity presented itself, I joined a band, and the band was my life, my saving grace for the first year that I was in Texas. I was at practice more than I went to work. I was with that band longer than I kept a job. They were my support system, legit, and they wanted me to grow. I felt like they had my back and I had their back. So fast forward to a year after being in that band, we were on our now third drummer, who was a friend of our bassist, who was, still a good friend of mine, going through some stuff. But, so we met at practice, and I had missed the first practice with him. So it was his second time at practice, my first time meeting him. And so I had no idea what I was walking into. And I didn't know that I had never heard a good drummer before. But he played the same song that all the other dudes played, and it was so perfect and crisp. It was so easy for him. He was like bored, and it was just so much better than anything in it. And that just piqued my interest. And like from then on, I was just like, like no idea. And oh my gosh, I just like can't. So let's see. The band ends up getting really upset that we started dating, and we were very respectful about it. Told them, you know, it's not gonna have any effect on the band. We're gonna do us respectfully, but there's no way we are not gonna do this. I mean, it was just like I had to be with him. Like, I remember he went on a trip, and I told him before he left that I just thought he was the most amazing thing in the world, and I just like, I like him. And then we started dating like the day he came back. And then a year later we got married. Where was I going with that? The night my husband proposed. So my husband introduced me to these mushrooms. They were a different kind of mushroom than I'd ever taken in my life. And so we both tripped that night on these mushrooms. And I'm just like, this is the best shit ever. We're just sitting outside, like, and it was like after the peak of the trip, but still not all the way down. Okay, here's the peak and here's the end of it. It was like right here. So like we were on our way down, but still there, you know? And he asks if I wanted to marry him. And like my mind exploded, and that was when I pieced together the trip and the fact that it all rushed into my head, into my consciousness, and was kind of like, hey, yeah, this is that one. Remember? This is it. It was so cool. I was just like, and I think I just was dead quiet for, you know, I don't know how long, but I didn't say anything because my mind was exploding. And I eventually, of course, said, fuck yeah. Like, oh my God. Best decision I ever made. I am the most indecisive fuck ever. And like, I have not ever thought twice about marrying him ever. Like, yep. So that ties in that experience, my name, how I met my husband. I've had some DMT trips that have also connected some dots. I've had acid trips that tell me too much too. I've just had a lot of crazy shit happen in my life and understand fully who I am. I love and appreciate and respect the soul that my husband is and has, and I'm excited to really, really connect with people who've had similar experiences. I have a lot of shit to talk about in my life, so just get ready, man. I feel like I did a good job of telling that story for the most part. I know it's a little choppy and my editing still sucks, but I'm only gonna get better, guys. So just stay tuned, check it out, you know. So I've managed to talk for about 35 minutes now, and I think I hit all the key points. I may actually end up doing like a follow-up video depending on how this one goes, but so I'll wrap up the story too, because I didn't do that. So needless to say, my best friend found me after 3 days, a night in jail, 2 nights in a hospital, and she was actually the first person that I saw when I woke up in the third day. I woke up thinking it was the very next day. They were like, no, bitch, you slept for 3 days. We have 2 days in. Callie left to go do whatever the fuck we want to do. And they told me the story basically of how they found me, and it was fucking terrifying. They had 2 places saying that I was there and had checked out, and I think another one saying that I was there, that I was not there. And then, needless to say, they eventually found me. So what she ended up doing was having to drive 6 hours back to hometown, Sierra Vista, pick up her, at the time, boyfriend, and my best friend, my dude best friend. And they drove all the way back, stayed in a hotel, tried to find me for 3 days. Eventually they found me and picked me up. And then we emptied out our bank account, so all three of us went to Disneyland, California Adventures, and then had to beg her mom for money to go home, and spent the last day at the beach, and then went home. And got a lot of shit from all my people at home. Taylor got a lot of shit for leaving me, which I still want to say to anybody watching this who was throwing shade at Taylor. You were not fucking there. Stop fucking judging. Peace and love, bitches. If you vibe, subscribe, hit that bell so you can be notified.